start. Hey, everyone. Speaking of starting, and then more people will come in, right?
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. It's Sleepy Reader, aka Damien, and I am here with. Oh, I'm pointing in the right direction. I am here with the Garage Geek, the geekiest guy in a garage I know. No, one of my favorite YouTubers, David, the Garage Geek. And let's see. Do we have? I see we have 2 viewers. No comments yet. Okay. So we're just here to either do show and tell, or I'm doing a haul. David can show and tell, or maybe there's stuff in a box you want to pull out.
Just a hangout, show and tell hangout.
Just because we have nothing else to do on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and it's been a while since we've done a show. So, I mean, Sleepy...
Well, we were supposed to get together and talk about the Hugo nominees.
Yeah. But you kept pestering me to do a show. So I finally gave in. No, it's the other way around. I'm like, when can we do a show?
No, you just pestered me once. You just sent me one text. I said, okay.
So, yeah, he agreed to do one today.
You caught me at the right time.
Yeah.
But so this should be on David's channel because it's his idea.
Yeah, well, all right.
I would have invited you for something like this anyway, because one of the things I have is a box of goodies that David sent me. How about we do like 4 things? I'll show 4 things, then you show 4 things, and we'll go back and forth. Does that work for you?
Totally. You want to go first or me?
I'll go first. I'll start with this box of yours.
Ew, you pulled out toilet paper. No, it was
your husband. I feel sorry for him if this is the toilet paper in your house.
I think he's one of the people watching. So,
Higgy Pop is here. Last I knew, Higgy was in Manhattan going to a Broadway show, but maybe he's secretly watching us instead of the show. And he turns the big 50 tomorrow.
Whoa! I got you beat. I'm older.
We think 50 is young.
Mm-hmm.
So were these doubles of stickers you didn't need? Bigfoot stealing a Christmas tree. Believe.
That seller put them in. I kept a couple and I sent you a couple. Believe.
Is this a X-Files reference? Believe? I don't know.
It must be.
Or no, the truth is
I want to believe. And I want to believe was another one, wasn't it?
Literature. Winner of the Man Booker Prize. You expect me to read real literature?
I wrote you a
note. Are there any muscular men ripping their shirts off in here? That's what I need.
No, I wrote you a note. It's in there. I was just like, if you feel like it, I found this in a free book drop. And so I sent you the hardback. And I was like, the first time I read this, I didn't like it. And I didn't really understand why it won the prize. So I thought I need to give it another try. So
I just found the note, but it's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you sent me a hardback and yourself a paperback. That's nice.
So
on YouTube, you got to go like this to prove you have a hardback.
So in the future, if you feel like it, we have something we could read. That's not sci-fi.
So you've already read it, but you want to reread it.
Yeah. Because like I said, when I read it, like it's a comic masterpiece by NPR, but I think I didn't appreciate it when I read it. And so I think it's time for me to give it another try.
So he's the editor of Hokum, an anthology of African American humor, and he lives in New York City. Okay, yeah, that actually sounds interesting. I'll let you know when I start reading it.
Cool.
Okay, so I'll count the stickers as one thing, the book is one thing. So now, this looks well wrapped.
Oh, Gore might show up.
Here's more of your husband's toilet paper.
No, those are to put in your chi-chis. To pad out your bra on Friday nights. Yes.
There we go.
See, your drag queen name is Mary Ryder Moore. You remember the album that had the Jesus
that you were showing just the other day? Yeah. So was that a real album or just a mock-up?
I think it was fake. Yeah, someone took it but it was still hilarious because there are genuine albums like that.
Right. Okay, so I've shown two things. I'll show two. Okay, this is something my viewers can understand instead of all this literature and stuff and toilet paper. Turok, Son of Stone. Let me see. I think I can go big.
Beautiful painted cover. Look at that.
Yeah, so I love these painted covers. And I think Turok art inside is pretty good too.
I've yet to read one. I need to. I'm slowly jumping into my comics like that. I'm reading them randomly.
Yeah, it's nice looking art.
It's serviceable. The Dell art.
I think the writing tends to be pretty flat.
Yes.
You know, not a lot of personality to the writing. Can
Your
you hear my
cat? In the room. She wants to be part of the live stream.
She does.
So,
anyway, yeah, I'm excited about that. Okay, one more thing. Another Turok and an even better cover. Look at that. That is really nice.
They're under the ocean, yeah. A double sacrifice. Oh,
I'm just amazed that they could afford to pay someone to paint such nice covers. You know, because I think of these as lower selling comics, but maybe they actually were really big, had really big sales.
You know what? I wonder if there's ever been like an art show of the art from those comics. That would be a great.
That would be great.
Oh yeah.
Hello, Naman. Another favorite. Both Higgy and Naman are super favorite YouTubers of mine, along with you. And they're supposed. So one of the main painters of these covers is named George Wilson, and there's supposed to be an art book of his work coming out sometime in 2024. Sorry?
I said buy for me, thank you.
Oh.
I'll expect my copy, thanks. Hi, Comic Book Worm.
Comic Book Worm acknowledges your existence.
Oh, that's Naman. I already said hi.
Naman, yeah. Now, can I make you big? I think I can solo you.
But I'm Gigantor. Like, all right. Sorry. I'm gonna do all of these. It's more than 4, but I'll be quick. So these are the comics.
Okay, you're out. You're out.
I bought for my husband.
If you can't follow the rules.
Okay, so these are the comics that I bought for my husband, and they just came. So these things are gorgeous, and you know what? To be honest, I've read a couple of them, and the stories are fun. So I love these. I guess they're called negative space covers. So there's Justice Ducks. This is the final issue of Disney Villains. Hades. I think that's a Jay Lee cover. Jay Lee
is the art on the inside nice too?
Yes, I'll show you one.
I mean, I'm just becoming obsessed with the idea they spend all their money on covers and don't hire good artists for the insides.
I mean, yes, I actually really like it.
Yeah.
And what they also do at the end, they sometimes have they have posters like pinups, and they'll sometimes have alternate covers. Like they'll show, like for example, this is going to be Cruella, the next issue of Cruella, and they have a full cover, and I guess that's Joshua Milton art. These are really nice comic books that Dynamite has been putting out.
Higgy loves your idea of a Turok art exhibit.
Not just Turok.
Yeah, but the one for Turok and then one for the Sons of the Spear. You could have a whole series of art shows.
Yeah, and I would
travel to New York City to see them.
Yeah, but it would be nice to have a Dell Gold Key painted art, like a big art book. Like, what do you call those coffee table books? That would be beautiful.
Right.
Look at this one. Gorgeous. Here's another.
Naman says, do not abuse the camera.
Is that because I almost knocked it over?
Because you hit it with your comic. I think the irony is it's the comic that's getting abused there.
Yeah.
And he says hi to Higgy.
Yo, Higgy. This one, I wasn't so great. Some of the covers have been fabulous, but this is just
what is that?
Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh, okay.
They're actually.
Oh, you're buying these for your husband, Frank.
These are all for him. The actual interior art is nice. I'll show you. Like, here's an example. Like, it's not bad. Here, wait. I can't get this right.
It's kind of dark. It's hard to see on the camera.
Sorry. I'm trying not to take up a lot of time, but it's. But when I show there you go. That's cool. Right? All the Justice League lined up. Okay, whatever. He loves Looney Tunes, so here's the most recent issue of Looney Tunes. I have 2 copies of Cruella de Vil. I went ahead and bought. I usually don't do this, but I bought him 2 covers of the same issue because I liked both of them. Well, the thing is, he's getting them, so.
Eventually, he'll be able to use those to send himself to college.
Yeah, he's not that young. And then this is the last one, Justice Ducks. So these, I really like these Dynamite comics.
So they're really for both of you then?
No, he gets them. They go into his room.
You don't read them?
I do read some of them, and every one that I've read, I've enjoyed. So probably at some point, I'm going to ask him to borrow them, because the thing about them is they're all they're usually like 5 issues, and then they stop.
Enough for a trade, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 more things from.
That was actually like 12, but I did it really fast.
This is a very shiny bag you gave me.
Let's see. Oh, that YouTube. No, not a YouTube. A Whatnot seller sends me stuff in those bags, and they're so cool. You could show that bag off. It's like something you'd find in like the outer space.
I forgot I wasn't on screen. This is the bag I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's like something you'd find outer space station food wrapped up in.
Right. Maybe it's from Space 1999 that you're watching. Okay, this is probably the most valuable comic you've given me. Tarzan is beating up some monkeys or some chimpanzees. That's not nice.
Poor chimps. That's animal.
But on the back it says $200.
I think it's number 200. Oh wait, it can't be number 200. And I'm sure it wasn't worth that much. Not if I managed to get 2 copies of it and send you.
I think actually that someone wrote in pencil 200 at the top too. I think someone thought this was number 200. Could they have done that many?
I don't think so. The only Dells where they went above.
It is number 200 from 1971. It's like
is
kind
it
of like Russ
Tarzan?
Manning artwork.
Is it Tarzan?
It's Tarzan, yeah.
Oh, because their 4-color series went up to 1,500 or something like that.
I think when DC took over, they continued the numbering. They didn't start with number 1. This probably DC took over shortly after this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Russ Manning artwork. Do I have the name wrong? It's the guy who did Magnus Robot Fighter. He also did Tarzan.
Yeah, see, the interior art to me is, again, just serviceable. It's nothing that I would like write home about. I don't know. What do you think? I like it.
I like it.
Oh, yeah, I like it, but I'm not like, oh my God, this is the best art ever.
I mean, it's not as good as when Joe Kubert drew Tarzan.
I don't like his
art. Speaking of Magnus Robot Fighter, nice painted cover.
Look at that.
I love the idea of Magnus Robot Fighter, and I've read a number of the stories, and they're always very dull. It's like, how do they turn a guy fighting robots into such a dull story?
He's wearing a skirt. That's why.
It's a kilt. It's a kilt.
Oh, he's Scottish?
It's a mini kilt.
I mean,
I'm unclear if they're shorts or a kilt. I guess it is a kilt or a mini skirt.
It's like in some things it's like a skirt hanging down.
Yeah.
You go, Magnus. You wear that skirt with pride.
He is macho enough, and he lives in the future where no one is ashamed to wear mini skirts.
That's right.
I love the art, actually. Russ Manning, if that's the right name.
You just want to be contrary. You love the art now.
I've always loved the art in Magnus Robot Fighter.
Oh, good.
Okay. That's 2. Another bag. Oh, this is an even better cover, and it's in Mylar.
Oh, that one has the subscription crease right down the middle. You said you like those. So
I love the subscription.
Like that one is like.
Is that a subscription crease? Because
that's
it's not
like a full-on fold.
Yeah, I think someone folded it and not symmetrically.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, in the early days of YouTube, there was a bit of a flame war between people who thought Mylar was great and people who thought it was a waste of money.
I love Mylar. Is that
And
Mylar?
that was before anyone talked about slabbing or anything. This one feels like Mylar.
It might be.
Or either that or it's some higher level of the polypropylene or whatever it's called. Okay, my last one, the Mighty Samson.
I love the yellow cover on that.
I'm not sure if of all of these paintings, I think this is my least favorite. He is hitting a Hydra, I guess, with a U.S. postal box.
Oh, you made it go thumbs down.
What did I do to make it go thumbs down?
How dare you? The one I say I like a lot, and you made a thumbs down.
I did not hear. Wait,
you did.
I'll rectify that.
Say it again. I didn't like.
Here we go. I love this comic book. Thank you so much, David. It is so exciting that I'm exploding with happiness. I can't stop being excited.
Wow, look at those effects. Can I do that? No, I can't.
On the Mac now with the new operating system, it has these controls, but it also has things where if you accidentally do the wrong thing, it
like that.
So yeah, it either responds to your fingers, but there's also I can click on the camera icon and okay, your next 4 things.
That was some special effects. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show is I'm trying to make Gary B the casual.
By the way, Gore is here, but I will introduce him after you show your 4 things.
Oh, so I'm trying to make Gary B the casual comic book guy jealous. I know he has this, so I'm not gonna.
He probably has 5 of those.
I know, but he needs to bow down and say I'm the better Conan collector. But I do not have many of these original Marvel Treasury editions. I had them all when I was a kid, including the Spider-Man one, the Superman versus Muhammad Ali. Those things are so expensive now. I had them all. But I was able to get this in a stream recently, and I paid $10. I don't know if that's a good price or not. Look at the back. This thing is gorgeous.
Yeah, that is. Yes.
Thank you. I was waiting for some acknowledgement there.
Is that Barry Windsor Smith stuff on the inside, or
I doubt it. No, this is during the I guess that says JB. John.
It is the cover is John Buscema and Ernie Chan, but some of them reprint some different stuff. Have you looked inside of it yet?
No, but I had this as a kid, and I don't think it's Barry Windsor Smith.
Okay, so there's another one then. I thought because Red Sonja was on there, they might reprint the Red Sonja.
Hold on, I'm opening it just for you.
Thank you.
It's got this like sticky thing. All right, when I open it up, oh, it is. You were right. It's Barry Windsor Smith, and look at that gorgeous splash page.
That is Barry Windsor Smith's very best color.
Awesome. That's worth a giant old, and it's all yellowed and old. Yep, this stuff is gorgeous.
Nauman says it's worth $5,000.
$5.
Or I mean $5.
When did you buy that? 10 years ago? I
think normally most shops would charge you about $40 for that, maybe a little more.
Nauman is trying to say that I pay too much. Nauman,
he outdid you in hunting comics.
Nauman, I need you to write that you paid $50 right now, or I'm going to be mad at you.
Okay.
All right. Number 3.
Your next thing. Yeah, I'll get back to the comments when you're done showing your things.
Oh no, do the comments.
No, because let's have Gore on, and then we'll look at the comments, and then we'll.
Okay. So this morning, Damien called me a slab whore, and I said
no, a slab slut.
Slab slut, and I said no, I'm a cheap slab slut, because I only buy the cheap one. So this is an example. I bought this. I don't even like this comic. I don't like the art at all. But it was assigned, and it was like nobody wanted it. It was sitting there, and it was $1. And I was like, I think I ended up paying $5 or $6 for it. But I just felt sad for the comic creator, so I went ahead and bought it. It is assigned. That's why it's got.
So it's a signed comic with a cover that you hate, slabbed in plastic, so you can't ever look inside.
I mean, look at that. That art. Sorry, Joe Stanton. I don't even know if you're the artist. If you're on here, I'm so sorry. but I do not like this art. But look, they were trying to sell it for $30. I'm like, and I probably got it for like 5 or 6.
Is that from First Comics or it's not Charlton,
Yes,
right?
it's First.
Okay.
You can
The
see
Charlton ones are of E-Man are better and have better covers. But
yeah, and so you might be right. I mean, why did I buy this? I don't know. Okay, I showed 3 things. That's good enough. Let's get to the chat. Or do you want me to show one more thing or no?
Show one more thing.
All right. I bought this cool book. I'm a big fan of this artist. So this is Rick Geary, and it is a Treasury of 20th Century Murder Compendium. Now I've read, he's got so many of these. They're history. They're basically true crime. Oh wait, it's over here. True crime. And I read about 3 of them. He did one about the murder house in Chicago during the World's Fair, which was, a very famous book, Devil in the White City. So good. About the Chicago Fair World's, fair serial killer. He's like one of the first serial killers. Do you know about that story at all?
I did not know there was a serial killer. No.
In Chicago. It was, I forget, like 18 something. But anyways, I really, really like his line drawings in these, and you learn about history when you read these things. So anybody out there, they're beautiful. And they put 3 of them into this, and I'm hoping to get as many of these as they've published. So this one includes The Lindbergh Child, Madison Square Tragedy, and The Terrible Axeman of New Orleans. And I'm going to assume that's the one they chose for the cover. So, has anybody in the comments, do you know about Rick Geary and his work?
I remember Rick Geary in heavy metal. I'm going to bring Gore in now.
All right.
Hello, greetings to our Texan friend.
Hi.
I just unsubscribed from David's channel.
Oh, yeah. Everyone should unsubscribe from.
I mean, really, David? Joe Staten, E-Man, really? I can't believe this.
But
I cannot believe this.
I bought it out of pity for the guy.
I thought Californians, like Canadians, had a heart.
Do you know him?
Of course not.
I
know E-Man. Yeah, I read E-Man as a kid. I know that when First Comics launched in the 80s, E-Man was one of the, not reprints, but they were relaunching it because it was a Charlton book, right, Damien?
Yeah, it was a Charlton book. And somehow they gave Joe Staten the rights to it, which is very unusual. Okay. So he took it to First Comics and then later to another comic book publisher.
Okay, and that was it. First of all, hello, you guys. Good to see you all.
Yes,
no, I did not unsubscribe to you, but it's amazing how he finds these things. Was this on Whatnot, David?
No, it's because of Sleepy. He's so nasty. I've been buying a lot of things on My Comic Shop.
Oh, I see.
And he's the one who told me about it.
Ha! Okay.
But no, I didn't tell you about it to go get slabs
yes, you did.
that you don't even want. I just
Damien would never suggest a slab book. No.
He did. He hypnotized me. So yeah, I told Larry's library this morning, I'm like, are you a priest on the side because I need absolution for what I did? I went on Whatnot this morning and I bought some comics. It's madness. So bad.
Absolute mad. No, the thing is about those early E-Man comics, I had ordered them. I think Damien knows the story when I ordered a lot of stuff in the early 80s. And I ordered American Flag, John Sable Freelance.
Was that through like Robert Bell or someone like that?
I'm sorry?
Was that through one of those people who advertised in
it? It was through, what is it? It wasn't through Mile. One of them was through Bud Plant.
I don't know.
It was Bud Plant and Mile High. I went through both.
And they advertised in the back of comics back then.
Right. And I remember buying some Comic Scene magazines, even though they were much above me, those journalistic type of magazines. However, they had great pictures, interesting things, enough to grab me. And then I just happened to be there at the right time and I ordered them. And I had no idea what E-Man was. I just saw the drawings. I didn't know. I thought it was a serious book. Of course, when I got it, it's not a serious book.
Right. It's a
rather jokey, campy book. It's outrageous, especially with the X-Men. There's some bondage in the early issues. And but luckily I had already read heavy metal, so I already knew about bondage. And
It's good to be educated.
And and I live in Texas, where some of my friends' parents were into really interesting things, and and they're, of course, all very conservative politically. So I always found that rather interesting about them. It's a whole nother feed. But I like the man. I like the man quite a bit. So
maybe that could be my gift to you, a signed copy of E-Man.
No, you don't have to do that. But thank you, though.
Nobody wants it.
No, I'll take it, absolutely. But it's. No, I think you should keep it for a little while. Let it. Eventually you might read some of the E-Man comics. You might like them.
I think I had some when I was young. I might have read them. I know. I think I had some of them.
No, they're actually fun to read.
Yeah,
but some of those ones from First Comics were written by a different writer, and they weren't as funny.
That's true.
His humor wasn't as. I think it was Carrie someone. Anyway, his humor didn't click with me the way the original writer did.
Yeah, I saw you showing some Conan magazines. It's going to be tough to compete against Gary. I think Damien had it right.
I'm going to beat him.
5 copies of each one of those treasures.
No, I can beat him. Don't worry.
It's going to be tough.
You don't know me.
Between Damien and Conan, it's going to be tough.
You don't know me. You can't judge me.
So you don't like E-Man. You don't like Magnus. You don't like the artwork in Magnus. But Exabit, I'm not familiar with Exabit, so hi. But anyway, that's a good point about the whole allegory about humans and technology. I think in general is a good allegory for it. People who hate Mylar, I can only imagine how they would hate. Do you remember arguments about whether?
Oh yes, or not? I was there. You were there too, Dave.
Back in the old days, people got really angry about it.
But Mylar is so beautiful.
Oh no, it was bad. No, it got nasty. I remember it was about 10 years ago. It all started when a YouTuber did a video about having a collection of comics, I think in his basement or attic for decades, and he had them in the same polybags.
Right.
And he said that the comics, after all these decades, the polybags were a bit wrinkly and everything, but the comics were fine. There was no yellowing. There was no damage to the book. And he was doing the video because he was noticing new collectors coming in, spending a lot of money on new bags, on Mylars, and all that. That's all he did. Next thing you know, I wasn't subscribed to his channel, but I was subscribed to the one who had pissed off. I'm not going to mention his name. I just subscribed to him. But he was really angry about this. And he made a series of videos because he said that the man was being irresponsible, I think, by doing this. He was thinking that people who were coming in who didn't know about comics may end up, endangering their collection. And it got nasty for about a few months. I don't know how far it trickled into other YouTubers' channels, but it was one of the
other people weren't as passionate, but I do remember a lot of people like discussing if Mylar was any, worth it or anyway, there was a lot of discussion about it. And now it seems sort of a bygone thing because now it's all about slabbing comics, which almost no one even talked about back then.
No, we didn't. No, we did not. No, we did not.
And that dirty rotten Nauman got that Conan for $5.
Whatever, Nauman.
He got it a month ago. So we all need to go to Astoria to buy comics.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if Big Herm might actually live near Astoria.
Nauman's copy had like a mouse chewing on the corner, so don't worry about it.
Nauman says you didn't pay too much, though.
Yay.
And Higgy agrees $30 to $40 is the normal price for those kind of treasures.
So I got a bargain.
How much did you pay?
10.
That is a big bargain. All the shops around me, there's no treasuries for under $20. And
no,
a nice one, like a popular one with Conan or something, it's a lot more.
They're hard to find. When they are, they're at least $20.
Werewolf by Lunchtime.
Werewolf by Lunchtime is calling me. I can't think of anything, reader. He and I always make jokes about each other's names. Let's see, Mastodon. I met Don in Florida. That was very cool.
Another werewolf. I saw him. That's right.
Oh, that's me. The slab market's really weird. If it wasn't a 9.8, people aren't willing to pay much at all unless it's very, very old. And to me, the bizarre thing is I think almost no one could tell the difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8.
It's become a fetish. The 9.6 is a fetish.
And I think it's just arbitrary. You could get one day your comic could be graded 9.6, the next day 9.8, and back and forth depending on just the mood of the grader, I think.
It's true.
And
Rayman's here has
Damien accuses me of being like preying on those people because I want the ones that get low grades because I don't care about the grade.
Well, you're smart to go buy those, I guess, if you like them.
I do. I love them.
You were showing a Camelot 3000. You can buy those all day long in $1 bins.
Yeah, it's true.
Not slabbed.
No, not slabbed.
I've never seen one slabbed.
But you could just take it. I know it was kind of foolish of that person to slab it. You could just take one and put it in a top loader.
I don't understand why some people slab some of these books.
Yeah,
because that comic book isn't worth anything.
The mystery of science.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even number 1, was it? Right?
It was like number 8.
Oh, speaking of the guy who you're gonna slam.
Hey, it's Gary.
I already beat you, Gary. Did you see my Conan?
You want to pull it out?
I win the Conan Wars. Here you go, Gary. Because I know you don't have this one. I got this for $10.
Gary wins the Scary Sexual Stories Award, though. People just saying hi to each other. Were there any more? I thought there were a few more. Gary says thanks. Okay. Oh, Higgy was at Midtown yesterday picking up some Conans. I can't wait to see what he got.
Yeah.
Being angry on YouTube seems a good way to grow your channel. And yeah, that was part of that. Whenever there's a controversy, everyone wants to hop on to get more views. Big Herm's wife grew up in Astoria, so he spent a lot of time there. But they're on the other side of Queens now. Queens is like a whole country, probably. Higgy can tell the difference between woe and woe plus.
Minus and plus, yep.
Yes. And I think that's my favorite. Higgy has my favorite grading system. Gary only has 2. I had predicted you'd have 5.
But Gary, mine has yellow pages. Yours doesn't.
Hello, John. Comics for Kids is a great YouTuber. Okay, Gore, do you have some things there you want to share with us?
Well, I only have only about 3 comics this week, and one arrived in the mail, which I just showed, and I guess we'll begin with that. Okay. And I got this last night, and that's Gary's new book.
And have you had a chance to read it yet?
No, but I turned to I just turned the page and I pointed, and I realized this is not Nancy Drew.
No.
So,
don't bring it over to your grandmother's house.
I've heard it's got some juicy bits. I'm going to buy mine.
Yeah, it's an erotic book. I mean, it's like, I think I commented this morning on somebody's channel and said it was a Nancy Drew on steroids. I think it was on John's channel. And
Nancy Drew without panties.
So who needs panties when you have wings? And I think the flames will burn off any kind of clothing.
Mm-hmm.
I read the whole book, and then I listened to Evil Mike read part of it out loud.
Yes, that's right. I heard someone was reading it.
Yeah.
How was he reading?
I'm waiting to see whether his channel will get taken down.
You know, they do that, don't they? They might. Maybe not. I don't know. If Gary has no objections, I don't know why anybody should be objecting.
It is like the Comic Book Worm says it's like Penthouse on steroids. Yeah, it's like Clive Barker and H.P. Lovecraft wrote something for Penthouse.
Penthouse. I'm looking forward to reading it. I mean, this morning, I mean, as you guys know, I mean, I wake up in the mornings and I read, and I was going to read this one, but I decided to read something else instead. But I'm looking forward to reading it, and but I'm really congratulations, Gary. I think you're in the chat. I mean, it's quite an achievement. You actually wrote your own story, and you had it published. And I always like when people do that.
Yeah,
you take a risk when you do this. You take a not so much a financial risk. I mean, sometimes you do, but here it's really an emotional, intellectual risk because you put something out there and you don't know how people are going to react, or
And
if there's going to be any reaction at all.
Yeah. I have to say, after reading it, I mean, it's not the kind of thing I normally read, but I definitely want to see what he writes next. Because along with the shock value, I thought there was a lot of good bits of descriptive writing and stuff in it.
Okay. Now I'm looking forward to reading it. Probably read it tomorrow morning. And the other things that I got were just cover buys. This one was in a discount because I just like April O'Neil from the Turtles. And I don't even know what comic this is, but
that must be Jenny Frison.
Yeah, it is Jenny, and it's just for $1. Now,
I would have bought that in a heartbeat.
It's very pretty. You know, it's a nice, pretty. It's of April, and I like April from the Turtles. Of course, I'm partial to the original April, who had the Amy Irving hair and the Jennifer Beals from Flashdance profile. But then they, the creators changed it to look like this, which is fine. But I prefer the original April O'Neil.
Yeah.
So I got that.
So are you saying she used to be bustier?
When Richard Corbin drew her.
That would be nice.
Richard Corbin drew, I think, a reprint of issue number 2 of 3 of the Turtles. And I think it's in his contract to draw women who will feed their children well.
I like the way you said profile.
Facts. Speaking of busty women, here we go. Now, this one was somebody's pull list at my local shop, but I don't know what they did, but they decided not to take it. Now, for me...
Adam Hughes, right? Adam Hughes?
I'm not sure who did this. I think it is Adam. It looks like Adam, doesn't it?
Looks like Adam Hughes. I don't like it. Her waist looks ridiculous. Her boobs are all stuck out. That's not a normal human anatomy.
Oh, no, don't disagree on... I disagree on this one, but for those of you who know my channel, I like Valentina. And I bought it because of these women down here.
Yeah, they look normal.
That's more to my liking. And so basically it's them that I like. They're the ones who stood out. So
just it's time for smut. Yeah, look at her waist. That's not normal.
Speaking of, so do you remember Rick and Dave's comic book hour? That is
Rick and Dave.
They haven't been on YouTube in, I don't know, 6 or 8 years.
No, I don't remember that channel.
It's probably Rick. Hi, Rick. Good to see you here.
Wow. That's nice. You got some YouTube royalty stepping in.
They are YouTube royalty.
Well, the older ones are here. Especially over this one. And this one I got because I like Storm, and I thought it was a Bill Sienkiewicz cover, but it's not a Bill Sienkiewicz cover.
I can't see that one well. I can't even see Storm in it.
So you were a variant cover buyer? Were all your covers variants?
Oh no, I see it.
Well, the other one I got for $1.
Right, they're dollar bin books. Yeah.
This one was just $5. The other one, this one was just $4.
Well, that's maybe just a standard issue then.
Yeah. Okay, this one was interesting because this is the Black Panther, and I think I've commented on other people's channels the past couple of days. Is the speculation on these books is madness, absolute madness. Damien knows that I'm friends with the owners of my local comic shop.
Right. And
when Ultimate Spider-Man came out, I remember the owners, Beth and Steven, had been telling people, get this book, put it on your pull list, and it's going to be a big book. Now, not many people did that. So Ultimate Spider-Man drops, and they usually put their comics out on Tuesday when they get them. So people start trickling in on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, it's comic book day. And it was selling steadily. It actually was selling really well. But then something happened Thursday and Friday. I don't know who they were watching. It was either Comic Tom, some social media guy. Next thing I know, they were in there with phone calls, texts, people coming to the shop, because they were all, this whole first appearance obsession, madness that they were looking for. And suddenly, now they had ordered a lot of books and they sold them at cover price. Pull box people were taken care of. They had all these books on the shelves and they limited them to 1 or 2 per customer. That's it. And then they had a whole bunch of others they got and they sold online. They made thousands of dollars online. Now this week drops the Black Panther book. This one, people didn't wait. On Tuesday, they were already texting like mad. They showed up that night, and I was there as they're putting out the books, and people were just coming in. There was one idiot. I'm going to call him an idiot. He showed up and he says, "I want to buy 10 books, and because these books are hot, I'm going to flip it on eBay for $25 each." He actually told him this, just like that.
Smart guy.
Smart guy. And I said, "No, you can buy one at cover price." Now I wanted to interject and say, $25, okay, Steven, sell them to each one for $20. But I didn't. I minded my own business. The guy walked away thinking I want to go somewhere else, but no one else has these books yet. So this book here, I had already gotten because I like Storm and looked at Bill Sienkiewicz. People were buying this book because they said this is the first appearance of Storm before she was Storm in X-Men. Don't ask me to explain this.
What?
Don't ask me nothing about the logic of
it. That's not true. There's a whole mini series about her life as a pickpocket.
Yeah, and I remember an early X-Men issue. They were showing her, Professor X showing her as a child, and I believe it was Africa, and he found her.
Well,
there.
I think this is supposedly some predecessor to Storm, because the way I overheard the people talking at the shop was that the Marvel films, future Marvel films, are going to be based on the Ultimate Universe. So this Storm supposedly was before the Storm that we know ages ago.
Ultimate Storm.
And there's their first cover appearance, whatever this is, right?
Whatever.
And I'm not joking. This is madness. And the X-Men book drops in a couple of weeks. The new X-Men books. One guy says it's going to be the new giant X-Men.
Well, we keep thinking all of this stuff is going to go away. Instead, it keeps getting bigger and bigger.
It's bizarre. It makes no sense to me. But they're willing to spend money. My shop is honest about it. They're fair. Pull box people are taken care of. They're not marking up the books to them at all, as some shops used to do here. They have stuff on the shelf. When you come in, you get one copy, and that's it. No shenanigans. And they're really good about it. So, but yeah, anyway, this is where we are. And anyway, this is what I got this week. And, but I want to share that anecdote with you about this Ultimate thing. It's going to be like this for a while.
Rick wants to know the name of the dog. What's your dog's name, Dave?
Named Angel.
Angel.
Cujo.
There's another one. There's 2 more in the next seat.
And you have 5 dogs, right?
5, yeah.
And do 3 of them come in the garage, or do all of them come?
Normally, there's only 2. I'm watching my sister-in-law's dog while she's at work. And then 2 of them stay in the house. But they're all allowed in the backyard.
So they're house dogs and garage dogs.
Yeah, well, these 2 are outside dogs. And when I'm here, they're allowed to be in the garage with me.
Wow. And what are the names of the other dogs, the other 4 dogs?
So Angel, Aries, Fred, Picoyo, and Nena.
So quite a Nena. Where does that come? Is that a Spanish name?
Nena. I don't know.
There's Nina, there's Nena.
Yeah.
Because your husband's of Mexico.
I think he named her. Yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree. Those Ultimate books will crash in value in less than. It's a pattern we see over and over again, right?
Yeah.
But there's just more and more people who get excited over this, I guess.
You do. I do.
Lord Tapman, I have heard Beneath the Trees is really good, but I have not. I've not been keeping up with current books at the moment. I'm going to try and get back into current books soon. So I think it's my turn.
Yep.
Let's see. So, oops, here we go. Back with my. It's cool because it looks like foil from a distance, but then it's see-through.
It does.
Okay. What
Nice
else did Dave get? Wow, this is a really cool cover. This dragon is chasing this person on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And Boris Karloff wrote the story.
Oh. I know he did.
I always wondered how many kids in the 60s knew who Boris Karloff was. I know I didn't. Right? He was a big star in the 30s or something.
Yeah.
I think Dell Comics must have been for the older child, not the younger one. And so they would have known his movies maybe.
I mean, this came out in 1971. I mean, I'd heard the name Boris Karloff vaguely. My parents might have mentioned him or something. I guess it's just like one of those mystery horror magazines on the inside.
Yeah.
You can see the cover better now that I took it off the plastic.
Well, it's like how it is now with 40, 50 years ago. Movies and stories and comics from the 70s and 80s. We all know them, right? So, I don't know.
And here's a series I'm a completist on, Dagar. I don't know if it's Dagar or Dagger.
Or Dagar.
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 The Invincible.
Dagar, the Invincible.
Fantastic art. Fantastic interior art in this. And this
I love that.
cover is by the interior artist, actually. I've suddenly forgotten his name, a Spanish artist. But the writer, Don Glut, has said he didn't even like sword and sorcery. So I think that's why these books are not remembered, because Don Glut didn't put much effort in it. Jesse Santos was the artist. Anyway, I like to collect art from Jesse Santos. And Dark Shadows. Now, I did know what Dark Shadows was as a kid.
I love Dark Shadows.
I didn't realize Gold Key did Dark Shadows, but I guess
yeah, and some of the earlier issues, especially the photo covers ones, they're expensive.
Higgy is off to a Broadway show. I know he said on his video, he had a short little video saying what Broadway show he was going to. I don't think there was any Conan in it, though, so I hope he likes it anyway. Or Hawkman in it. I mean, Hawkman's his thing, not Conan. Yeah, so Dark Shadows. Did you watch Dark Shadows as a kid?
Not as a kid, as a teen. It was in reruns, obviously.
In reruns, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Which network did it air on? Do you remember, Damien?
I don't. And I never got to see it. My parents wouldn't let me watch TV when I came home from school. So I would just hear all the art, and this is not that exciting. But I would hear all the other kids talk about Dark Shadows. And then they had a primetime Dark Shadows show in color years later.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It starred the guy that was in sorry. There's a movie where they dun 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 dun. Ben Cross. Okay, what's the movie where they're all running on the beach? Oh, Chariots of Fire.
Chariots of Fire.
It is Ben Cross.
Yeah. So the guy, because I watched the show, I was a Dark Shadows fanatic, so I watched the TV show. It was short-lived though, and but he was one of the people in Chariots of Fire.
Well, I do remember I was reading Famous Monsters as a kid in the 80s, and they were talking about Dark Shadows. And I think I remember reading that one of the reasons the show got canceled was the cast members, there was some drug use, but also the women kept getting pregnant. And this created a problem.
Whoa. No, Dark
should have just had them get killed off, I guess, as they got pregnant. Gray Man is going to, I assume, a stage show of a London Lovecraft Fest. Wow, I'm very jealous of that.
One Night Under the Elder Sun.
Mrs. Werewolf watched Dark Shadows but got bored after episode 947.
It's very repetitive.
And my fourth book here, Flash Gordon. I am so into the Flash Gordon comics right now.
What a cool cover that is.
So thank you, David, for all of these, but all exciting stuff.
Nice
gift. You have more stuff to show, David?
Yeah, I have comics and I have pulps. And I have to say, though, that I have to get off by 3:50. So I'm going to grab a stack of pulps.
That sounds cool.
So I won these in a lot. And the cover art is just weird. But look at that. What
that looks like it must be 60s.
I mean, look at that. It is from this one is March 1970. And it says the best impertinent science fiction. So
who are the writers, David?
Impertinent?
Every issue has so many. Like there's Harlan Ellison on here. Boudry Silverberg.
Good.
There's so many in every issue.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
One. Yeah, these things are like a treasure trove, but
those are all the big, great new wave writers. Just those two alone. So that tells me what this has.
Look at this cover
Wow.
art.
Oh, I love those.
You got to read those. They're going to be fantastic.
Read off some more of the authors on the title.
A. Van Vogt,
Oh, Van Vogt, absolutely.
Larry Niven.
Narrating. Oh, wow.
This one I don't know. Dr. Menzel.
No, I haven't
He
heard.
sounds like he committed war crimes. Okay.
Oh, Gary's still here, so
Gary got those.
I think
Those
Gary
are a
probably
little bit
knows his
more.
old science fiction authors.
Yeah. So this one has Meyer, Silverberg, Boudries, John Brunner.
Oh, Brunner, good.
Nice.
Yeah. Wow.
Ray Bradbury. Oh, this one, I like the cover on that one. Look at that.
That's very good. What year is
Ben
that
Bova.
one?
Oh,
Ben
Ben
Bova.
Bova.
January 71.
Wow.
75 cents. Okay, two more in this series. Here we go.
At one point, I don't know if at this time, Frederick Pohl was the editor of Galaxy.
Jesus.
Sorry, I can't get that to center right.
How much did you get these for, David? You mind me asking?
I think I got this whole set for, I would say $12 to $15.
What? I've seen people selling those things for $10-$20 a pop.
I know when I'm finding these
Wow.
in lots. So what they'll do is they will sell all of them, but they cherry pick the ones out.
Yeah.
And so I basically get all the ones that people don't want, and they bundle them together, and people bid on them. And I mean, I get them ridiculously cheap.
That's great. That's good for you. Yeah.
But now I got stacks and stacks of them, and I got to start reading them.
You got a lot to read.
I did start reading one, and I love it.
And they probably have cool illustrations inside too.
They do. Remember, I was showing and I was talking about, I wonder where these illustrations are they just forgotten? Because when they print them in storybook collections of one author, they usually don't, keep the illustrations.
Yeah, I perhaps lied when I said the zany Gore Vidal.
Yes, Jared, my lawyers are going to be contacting Damien in a moment.
There's no slide whistle.
Louis, Cheatham, and Howe are on the case.
Gore is actually very zany, but you have to have a very subtle perception to catch that.
You have to be tripping.
Good defense, counsel. Good defense.
Do you have more stuff you want to show, or shall I go back to mine?
No. No. Gore.
I mean, does Gore have something else he'd like to show?
I was organizing some of my fiction books since I'm going through stuff. And regarding my books, not so much the comics, but the books.
Yeah.
And I have some Spanish language books. And one thing I like about the Spanish language publishers, and I would like that maybe the American publishers would take note, is the cover art. Because you just showed, great science fiction cover art, right? Which was, for decades, right? For decades, it was just phenomenal. And also general fiction, the cover art was really cool.
Yep.
And cover art for books now, just general fiction, the colors are very bright. Those paperbacks, it's almost like they're taking a cue from romance books.
Yeah. And very simplified figures.
Very simplified. Like, you'll see like Tolstoy's Anna Karenina, a pretty grim book, right? But you see his bright flowery colors on it and everything. And I'm thinking, for the new reader who reads it, this is not a Harlequin book, right?
Right.
So I was looking through some of my Spanish language books and different publishers. But they're all based in Spain. But this is, for example, one by a Mexican poet and writer from Mexico named Alberto Ruiz Sanchez. I like him quite a bit. And this is a collection of poetry that he did a few years ago. And look at this cover here. Now, I've had it in the background
really nice.
My books here. And this is Alfaguara, a very prestigious publisher in Spain. And they also do a lot of translated work from foreign languages. And they all have covers like this. They really put the work in this. I mean, this one is decir, es desear, basically is to say something or to speak is to desire.
Mm-hmm.
A series of erotic, well, some of them are erotic, but some of them are pretty, they tend to be about love and such.
Right.
And
an American cover might just have something that someone did in 20 minutes on some graphic art program.
That's just it, and they put, and it's just very frustrating. You can do this. You can have this cover, for example, on an E.E. Cummings book, right? Who was known for his love poetry, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember that film, Hannah and Her Sisters, where Michael Caine is trying to seduce his wife's sister. I forget who played her, but she was dating Max von Sydow in the film.
Right.
And he gives her a copy of Cummings' poetry, in particular a certain poem. But this would be a perfect for E.A. Cummings book, right? So it's beautiful stuff.
Barbara Hershey.
I'm sorry?
Barbara Hershey?
Barbara Hershey. That's right. Barbara Hershey. And this one here, and this is a translation. This is from Tusquets, another Spanish publisher. This is Milan Kunderas, The Unbearable Lightness of Being, Spanish edition.
Oh, nice.
Yep,
so is that taken from a work of art from a museum?
It might be. Some of them are. This one I haven't looked, but it looks like it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're going to get him banned.
I'm sorry. That's true. Am I just getting in trouble?
No, that's...
So,
it's got boobies.
You showed Gary's cover. That might get us banned, but that won't work. That won't hurt.
Now, this one here is by Sergio Oreguin. I want to say, I think he's from Buenos Aires. And this cover says what this book is all about right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what it is. A middle-aged man has an affair with a young woman at the beginning of the story.
Dark, monotonous.
And things go bad shortly thereafter. These editions by this publisher, by Tusquets, they tend to have this black background, many of them, and there's usually a portrait here like this. Absolutely stunning.
Oh, on the screen here, I'm assuming that's a painting, but is it a photo?
No, it's a painting. It is a painting. And the Tusquets book, when you open them, these also the paperbacks. You could take a cue from the paperbacks.
Mm-hmm.
They always have the writer here.
I like those paperbacks with the folded over.
What happens to be signed, and then the background, what the book is about.
Nice.
And it's won any prizes and such.
Now, these come from a publisher in Spain or a publisher in Mexico?
In Spain.
In Spain, okay.
Mm-hmm. It's absolutely beautiful stuff. And the last one I'll show, and I'll for another round, this is the first novel I read by Carlos Fuentes. I had read his essays in the early 90s, and because of him, I was introduced to a lot of Latin American writers I paid no attention to. Let me rephrase it, I didn't know about. But the first novel I read by him was this one here, and it was this copy here, Diana. Now, Fuentes is one of Mexico's greatest writers from the last 70 years. He died a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I met him in 2001 when he spoke at the LBJ School at Austin. To a sold-out auditorium. The tickets were expensive. That's how big he was. To sell an auditorium, the tickets ranged from $25 and up. It was a huge lecture hall. And this one, Diana, is his fictional account of his love affair that Carlos had with Jean Seberg from Breathless.
Oh. Yeah.
And basically it's an account of her life and how it tragically ends. So, but here's Carlos here, Carlos Fuentes. And along with Gore Vidal, the actual Gore Vidal, Fuentes, I mean, after the domino fell with Wuthering Heights and Hamlet, it got me interested in actually reading books seriously.
Right.
It was these two writers which navigated my path towards what you see really in the background when it comes to the book.
Fuentes and Gore Vidal.
Gore Vidal, right.
Were the two poles for you of...
Yeah, they were. And they're both North American writers, but one more in the South, one in the North. I mean, Vidal got me interested in American history. And Fuentes put Mexican history, Latin American history, and European history, and he blended them in. He explained it in a way how they're all connected, in a way that no one had done before. Now, I had been a government major in my studies, and I had good professors, but no one really had done that before in both camps. Now, I met Vidal in 2006, and after we met and did a conversation for about an hour. And after we left, I had him sign my Lincoln book. And I shook his hand. I told him, "You're the best teacher I ever had." And it's true, because he really got me interested in American history, particularly the revolution, the post-revolutionary war, and a deep interest, and in a way that no one else had done before. And with Carlos, it was almost a similar experience. So in any event, but back to the covers. I mean, just stunning. The American publishers could take a note of this, but it's doubtful that they will.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, and they used to have much nicer covers than they do.
I'm sorry. That's right. We had phenomenal.
Something has changed in the concept of American publishing.
Yeah.
Paulo Costa's here, which is great.
Hello, Paulo.
And he says the Portuguese publishers are similar to the Spanish when it comes to fiction. He says needlessly luxurious. But we
Hello,
like
Paulo.
that. It gives the work that you're about to read more weight before you even start.
Absolutely.
And those colorful covers with almost no detail on them make it seem light and fluffy, which, I'm not down on light and fluffy fiction, but it kind of gives the wrong vibe, I think, for a lot of people.
One final note on that fluffiness. Before that cover, it was many years ago when Oprah would promote a book on her show.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? And I remember when she had Anna Karenina on, and she was discussing Tolstoy's book. And it was about a few months later at all the local used bookstores. That book was just, people were just selling that book like crazy. and I knew the owners of the used bookshops. They were going, yeah, Oprah promotes this book. They buy it like crazy. But when they get it, they're thinking, this is not what I expected. One, it's Tolstoy. Second, it's 19th century. Third, it's Russian history. And fourth, this is not a conventional romance book. Well, it's not a romance book. So it was a big tome. And the used bookshops were complaining because she promoted the big, heavy, fat, oversized monster, which took up so many layers of bookshelves. Eventually, it ended up in the remainder shelf, 50 cents and $1.
So. Yeah, they got them all back.
They got them all back.
The Valentina book in your background reminds me of Louise Brooks. I know that's an actress, but I can't picture her.
Yeah, no, she was, because Creepax was inspired by two people for Valentina: Louise Brooks, the silent film actress from Pandora's Box, and his wife. And so that's actually correct. Yeah.
Best Bob ever. Best Bob.
That means the haircut.
He does have
the haircut.
He does. Those are facts.
You're looking around. Where's Bob? I'm going to tell you, though, that
you said you had to
Penguin
leave soon.
books,
Oh, sorry.
I actually texted the person and said, I'm going to be late. So Penguin Books, which isn't really American, they have gorgeous covers on their books. And I collect
them. Do they still?
Yeah. They're but they do have a branch in America, because I know in Pennsylvania the factory is there for their thing. But I still buy so many Penguin books, and the covers are gorgeous.
Like, even this one's an okay cover, but it's not very
but we're talking classic novels. You're mixing classic novels with some modern.
I thought we were just talking about fiction, the way they sell it in general now.
I think there's a difference, though, because all the books that Gore was talking about, they were classics and classic writers. But then when you bring in modern lit and modern writers, now there's going to be a different style to modern books. Now, I do know that many of the modern publishers try to make those classic books updated with horrible, horrible covers. But Penguin isn't one of them that does that.
Well, I think it's about these publishers here. These are contemporary writers. I mean, Fuentes died a few years ago, but they even do that with when they reprint classic fiction from the 19th century or the 20th century. These publishers will do that. They'll include covers like this.
Right.
That's just it. I don't have many of those because I read them in English. But these writers are contemporaries who have not been translated. Most of them have not been translated into English. Now, I have The Unbearable Lightness because it's one of my favorite books of all time, and I wanted to read it in Spanish. And
I wonder if part of this effect is that most people are buying their books online, and they're basically just seeing a thumbnail before they choose the book, rather than browsing in a bookstore where a rich, luxurious cover makes a big difference.
I think it's who it's marketed toward. So, like when you said Anna Karenina, they're trying to get like a romance audience or a younger reader, and so they will market the book toward them. And I remember there was a thread, it was hilarious, on Facebook, of all these classic novels with these like horrible, horrendous covers, like like a modern man like doing something, and it's like this classic romance, and it had nothing to do with basically the content of the book, but they're trying to get it looked like cheap Photoshop covers, because they're just trying to market it to a new audience, because those books they're in, what do you call it, the public domain,
right? Public domain.
So they make up more money on those books because they really don't have to pay royalties,
right? Yeah, they don't.
So they just slap on these horrible covers, hoping anyone will buy them so that they can make money.
And of course, Jared Osborne would know a lot about the history of design. Penguin Books and the Marburg Grid. So there was a period where Penguin Books just had like just a little line drawing on them and the same orange and white layout on every book.
Yeah.
So these things change over time, but
yeah, those were their first books.
The general trend that Gore's talking about, I've seen a lot, especially now that I'm on BookTube and I'm watching other people's videos. Mm-hmm. And it just looks to me like they're not putting much effort into them at all. But you know, I could be wrong. So should I quickly show some more stuff, or do you want to show a bunch of stuff, David? And then
no, I'm fine now.
Okay,
I got an hour.
Okay, I'll go back to.
I'm sure we don't want to bore our audience that long.
Okay, I've never heard of this one, Judge Colt. This guy has a very hairy forearm.
Sexy, look at that.
I guess that's maybe I should send this one back to you. Or you have a double. This is a double, right?
They're all doubles, yeah.
That is a very hairy forearm.
Yummy.
Neil Adams would like that one. And favorite of mine, Lost in Space, Space Family Robinson.
That one looks like they're mixing up, you know, the Minotaur and space and all kinds of stuff in that one.
Oh yeah, there's the Minotaur in the foreground.
And there's temples.
I have read that sometimes they would repaint, like they'd take a painting they'd already done and then paint something new in part of the painting.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a really great Lost in Space cover. I love this guy here.
We got Uncle Fester going out.
That's me. Once I shave my beard off.
Yeah, the colors on that. I love those painted covers.
And I just love this old sci-fi kind of concept. Oh, the Mighty Samson again. Now, he was in some post-apocalyptic future. That's my memory of his story. And Jim Shooter did a reboot of it for Dark Horse, but it only lasted about 6 issues, but it was quite good.
I know there's a Chrysler building.
Do you like men with abs like that if they have blue skin?
No. Blue skin, that's fine.
Tarzan dancing with a lion. Now, my daughter will point out there are no lions in the jungle. Tarzan's always fighting lions in the jungle.
Oh.
They live on the savannah, right? Shall I keep going a bit further?
Sure.
I'm going pretty quickly. So, Gil Kane and the Brain. Fear.
That one has a
crease too. Yes, I'm very happy about that. Dead Man's Escape. I assume these are all old Ditko and Kirby pre-superhero.
I didn't open that one. Yeah. I am reading something.
This is a cool Flash cover. Let go of her, Flash, or Earth dies. I don't care. My wife is coming with me. I would have thought, looking at this, these two Flashes don't have the lines of the pretend underwear on their outfits, and that lack of that line does make them look a little more naked.
Mm-hmm.
So my first thought when I was looking at this is it's 2 naked men fighting over a woman, which that could happen. Oh wow, this is awesome! Hero for Hire, and I think that's Billy Graham art on the cover. Yeah, it's signed Billy Graham. Just had a confusing conversation with someone who knew Billy Graham, the preacher. And I said, "Oh yeah, Billy Graham's African American," and he said, "No, I've seen Billy Graham on TV a lot, and he's not African American."
Wrong, Billy Graham.
I wonder what happened to Billy Graham, because he was on Black Panther and Luke Cage and maybe a few other comics, and then he was gone. He had a very strong style. Mighty Samson from New York. Yeah, I remember that.
Ooh, that's a cool icon.
On lead paint?
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, wow.
That's
Maybe,
from one of
is that
those
a Kirby
old,
drawing?
Yeah, from one of those old horror comics.
And yes, Paulo confirms my daughter's knowledge. It's leopards who live in the jungle.
Paulo just keeps pointing at me.
Hey, Confederacy of Dunces.
He's like pointing at you? Yeah. He's reading Confederacy of Dunces for the first time. I know now where the Simpsons got comic book guy's personality from. Wow. I haven't read it. Now that makes me want to read Confederacy of Dunces.
I read that one years ago, and I remember it was very funny.
Oh. On the show, the Comic Book Slingers, they're going to be doing rats next week. So they always have a theme of the week. And then
cool.
And then they get judged on whose covers are best.
Oh, I got to watch that.
It's a great show. It's on Gray Man's channel right here, the Gray Man. It's every Saturday, 11 o'clock my time. So I guess East Coast time, like 2 o'clock. Oh, hey, it's one of my favorite men from Florida. Hope you guys can help me. I ended up on this channel and I don't remember how I got here. You probably were drinking slippery nipples, John, and you couldn't remember how you... John kept ordering us these shots called slippery nipples in Orlando, and next thing I knew, it was the next day.
Hey,
Comics. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, Chris. Long time no see, Chris.
Okay, so very cool Superboy.
They're melting, yeah.
And I am obsessed with getting all of these 48 pages, only 25 cents issues. I'm going to collect them all out of nostalgia because that's the year I started reading comics.
Well, that's cool then. I'm glad I helped.
You helped, yes. You've helped in a number of ways because I'm getting into all the gold key and all of that. You're speeding me on my way. Yes, you are my new best friend, John.
Drinking buddy.
Speaking of people with similar names, I found a Peter Windsor Smith who was a racing engine designer. And like BWS, he wasn't born Windsor Smith, and they're both from the... Could they be cousins or something? And is there a lot of line hatching on the engine designs? Okay, let's go back. Are you ready to do some more, Dave?
So you guys pick. I have 3 kinds of things left to show. So I have another stack of pulps. I have my comics, and I have records. So pick which ones you want to see.
Records for me.
Okay, records.
Is that okay with you, Damien?
I got to read it down.
Just no Peter, Paul, and Mary, please.
It's going to be all Peter, Paul, and Mary.
I love Peter, Paul, so too bad for you.
And no Phil Collins.
Too bad for you. So
I'm teasing you. Those are recurring jokes on his channel.
I went to the record store today and I sold.
Or Linda Ronstadt.
Oh yeah, Linda's another one, isn't it?
Yeah, I sold it. Now my dog's getting mad because I'm.
Some vinyl people are vicious.
And I sold a bunch of records, and so I had
really?
$114 in credit.
Nice.
So I get a whole bunch. So I still have the prices on these, and I paid too much, but whatever. So I bought a brand new copy. Hold on, my dog's right in front of me. I can't even position these. All right, so I bought a brand new one. Chet Baker singing or doing, probably not singing on this one, Lerner and Lowe.
My Funny Valentine by Chet Baker is fantastic.
I have
Were these from Amoeba Records?
No, I went to a local record store called Gimme Gimme
Subscribe
Records.
to the Amoeba channel. It's fantastic.
So yeah, this one's got a lot, from My Fair Lady and stuff like that.
What did Chet Baker play?
What do you call it?
Clarinet?
I guess. I can't remember. Trumpet.
The trumpet. But My Funny Valentine, because he sings that one too, I think I'm correct.
No, the album, that's how I got introduced to him, because Chet Baker Sings is such a beautiful album. I have that one.
Yeah.
So I decided.
I'm going to interrupt you just for a second to say hi, Brittany. She was John's wife and had a fantastic time with both of them in Florida. Okay, back to the record. Sorry.
I have no idea what this is, but it was $2, so I got it. It's a
Albert Einstein's robot record.
Urbaniacs.
I don't know.
Burning Circuits.
Urbaniacs.
That is Einstein, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's
Urbaniacs.
Einstein.
Who wouldn't buy that? That's awesome.
Is that just a single?
A single, yeah.
What's the name of the song?
I guess it's Burning Circuits.
Huh.
Burning Circuit.
I would assume they're a comedic nerd band.
I would think they're electronic.
No say.
That's what I would think.
Will you even be able to play that? Do you have is it 45?
Yeah, of course. Of course. What? Of course.
A lot of turntables don't do 35 anymore.
A lot of people don't buy 45s.
Right. Dang, Angel. Yeah, you put this little round thing in the middle, although this one you don't need it. And because this is cool. I actually like albums 45s that you don't have to put it in. So that one that's not normal, right? There's usually a bigger hole in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to add the thing.
Yeah. And then you just change the speed of the turntable. Now this one is I bought this is music. Now, I paid an insane amount for this, but since I had credit, I was like, what the hell? I don't even know this. My husband's gonna kill me. But it's a Joe Jusko cover. And it's called Lady Killer. And I was like, I want that art. Look at that. And the signature is down here. Jusko. I don't know if you could see that. But he's famous for many reasons. But
yeah,
he did a whole set of Marvel art cards.
And he was on Savage Sword of Conan a lot.
Oh, he was. So I'm trying to get that signature. There it is. Can you see it over there in the corner? 82. Jusko 82, right over there.
John
looks a little bit like a Roxy
likes that one.
I mean, that girl is awful. I mean, seriously, come on. But that art is cool. And then here's the band. That looks ridiculous. I actually can't.
Was this from the 80s?
It says 82, the drawing, and the 83. Yeah, the album's 83. $35 for that.
Ouch.
I know, but I had credit, so I was like,
they may end up being your favorite band, though.
We'll see. I bought this single, Blondie, Atomic.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's wonderful. I've never seen that.
I love that cover. Beautiful. And I have a couple others by her, the singles. They're all gorgeous. So,
but Debbie Harry passes
will that be
away,
the extended dance mix then?
It's got Atomic. I don't know. And then the other side just says Die Young, Stay Pretty Heroes.
Yeah.
I always thought those larger singles were for dance clubs and were extended.
That's what I thought as well.
Some of them.
Then
I don't think. Let's see how long Atomic is. Nope, it's 45 RPM and it's 350 regular.
Huh. That's weird. That they would put it on big.
I have another one by him with a really nice background. Quincy Jones plays hip hits. And I really liked that cover. I mean, look at that. That's gorgeous. The other one, the yellow background. What were you saying?
Great record producer, Jones.
It's funny back in the day where they had to tell you that things were hip.
That's true.
I mean, if you have to ask, they're probably not actually hip if you have to say.
Yeah, I thought I bought two. Oh wait, I thought I bought two from this set. I want to show both. Where are they? Oh, I only got one. Okay, so there. I didn't know about this label, but I love the drawing on this, the art. And there was another one that I didn't buy it because it was $25. But I need to look out for this label. And this is Richie Kamuka. And
Hawaiian? I've never heard of him.
Yeah, and it's Mode Records. And the other one had a painted cover just like that. But yeah, it was $25, so I didn't buy that one.
Is he someone you knew of before?
No. That's why my husband gets mad at me, because I just buy them for the covers.
Well, I really curious what kind of music that is.
That's jazz. It's Richie Kamuka Quartet. So it's definitely going to be jazz.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if it was Hawaiian music.
He does the cover of What's New, I think. And those are the only ones I know. the only one I know. And I also bought this one because I have another in this series. It's Count Basie, but I love this art that they did. It's like a drawing, painting of the artist. And like I said, I have another in this series of a different artist. And look how beautiful that is. Count Basie.
Yeah. So that's a painting, not a photograph.
Yeah, painting.
It's just hard to tell on my smaller screen. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm on a Don Shirley kick after I saw Green Book. So this is the second album I was able to find by him. The cover's not that great, but I'm just trying to collect all of his albums when I can.
Okay, I'm an idiot. Who is Don Shirley?
So in Green Book, basically it was a white chauffeur who's Italian macho. He has to drive this African-American gay classical music pianist all through the South.
And that's Don Shirley?
Yes, and he starts getting a respect for him, and he has to stand up for him because, of course, not only is he black, but he's gay. And it's a very good movie. It won the Academy Award. Best movie.
This record is classical?
Yeah, by that guy. And the first one I bought, it's really good. And so I'm actually really looking forward to listening to this one.
Paulo says the 12-inch single was invented by accident, but so I guess there's a whole story behind it.
3 more.
Okay.
Maybe Paulo can write about it. I don't know what this is.
Paulo should do a video about it.
This one is called Cross Country, and it's got a gatefold. And it's basically just got 3 modes of transportation, but I like the art.
It looks surreal that way.
Yeah, isn't that art cool? Look at that. Like, can you see it?
That's something you would see on one of these Spanish language covers for books.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly what you would see.
You can see it, right? Yeah. And then the last one I also bought. Oh no, there's 2 more. I bought this one also for the cover drawing. I just
already saw.
I like that. That's cool.
Very old school cover art.
I
like it.
Rock and roll.
And this last one was a buck. Patterns in Sound.
What is that?
Is
it ambient?
An emotional experience in musical communication. And this one is old. This one is going to be from 1966.
Oh, pretty ambient.
Come on, look at how cool that is. That's a cool album.
It is kind of driving me crazy to think you may never listen to these.
What are you talking about? I have a turntable and I always listen to music.
I don't know when you have the time.
When I read, I put on music.
I wonder if you can find places where you can just buy the cover without the vinyl inside.
But why would you want to do that?
Well, you said some of them you're not going to listen to. You're just buying for the cover.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, I misunderstood then.
Yeah, I say I buy them for the cover. I don't know them, but then I listen to them.
Oh, you still listen to them. So you're attracted by the cover, and that helps you discover new music.
Yeah, and I like them because I can display them. So I like them for the art, but I also listen to the music, obviously.
Here's the true story. Scientists were trying to invent cold fusion and instead stumbled into inventing the 12-inch single.
That is not true.
I completely buy that story.
Jared Osborne.
Jared knows. He lives near New York City. They know everything.
Okay, which one was your favorite?
The last one you showed with the
it was only $1. That was the
Blondie for me. Simple as that.
Not the $35 one.
No, I didn't like her leather boots, although it is cool that it was Joe Jessica.
It was the dominatrix look, right? Okay, I'm done. I got rid of that. Ugh. I've got 2 more things to show, but in my rounds when we get to them.
Okay. Do you have anything more, Mr. GV?
Yeah, I guess to continue with some of the Spanish language covers.
Cool. Yeah.
Show them.
And let's see. This one here is now the American, I think the English publishers have used this cover for this book, but I like again how Tusquets, the Spanish publisher, does this one. This is Marguerite the Lover.
Ah.
Is
that a picture of Duras, I assume?
And you know who this picture is. But I've seen this before. It might be Duras, for all I know. I know this is Celia, a fellow YouTuber.
Yes.
And this is her favorite writer of all time. She's done many videos about Duras.
Right.
And also about this one, if you notice, also the font on these books that happens to be quite large by this publisher most of the time. which is still pretty cool. And but
We
I
are
like
live, Scotty.
I like this book quite a bit. El Amante, actually Spanish translation, El Amante, the lover. It sounds so much better in Spanish. Wonderful cover. Another one by Alberto Ruiz Sanchez, who I showed earlier, his poetry. First, I'll show you who he is. He's still alive. Some of his books have been published in English. What I like about him is that he is able to incorporate Arabic influence into his books.
Oh, neat.
And
I like that one.
There's a
That's a
collection
very
of
cool
essays.
cover. Yeah.
Yeah, Elogio al Insomnio, Elegy to Insomnia.
Watch where you put your fingers now.
And I didn't think about that. And it has some interior photographs. The thing about him, he studied in Europe most of his young life. And he was visiting, I think, a cemetery in Paris. And one thing I've noticed about many of the Mexican writers, the European influence, they're happy with it. They don't have any issues with it, as some American writers tend to have. And they just see it as an extension of storytelling for them. But this is just a beautiful cover. Again.
So he's a Mexican poet. Was he published in Spain?
No, the publisher, again, he also has a publisher in Mexico. But Alfaguara publishes a lot of his books.
Okay.
And he lives in Mexico City, and I think in Colonia Roma, which is a prominent neighborhood there in Mexico City. I know my mother worked there when she was very young, when she was a servant to families there back in the 40s and 50s. And so when I learned that that's where he had grown up, I always wondered if he knew my mother. That would have been interesting, right? And this is a Spanish writer, Juan Marce. Juan Marce, this is Últimas Tardes con Teresa, Last Afternoon with Teresa. Look at that cover. I saw this, I bought this book in the 90s. I was at a bookstore and I saw this cover. Had no idea who the writer was. But again, that cover is going to say, please buy me. And Marce was one of those writers who came into his own after in the 50s and 60s. He was able to write still under Franco, but this book is not a political book. It's a love story, but I just like this cover a lot.
Right.
This one here is a collection of some of Bioy Casares' best books, and look at that!
Wow,
stunning, absolutely stunning, and it's a hefty tome there.
That's fair.
And these are novels?
This is a collection of novellas and writings by Bioy Casares. Casares is a very important writer from Argentina. He was a friend and contemporary of Borges and Julio Cortázar. He was born, I think, in 1914. He was part of an aristocratic family and from Buenos Aires. His most famous novel is this little guy here, The Invention of Morel, which is a play on the island of Dr. Moreau.
Ooh.
This
Has that been translated?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And this came out in 1940. And this little book was adapted loosely by Alan Rene in Last Year at Marienbad.
Oh, wow.
Probably the most artsy film, one of the most artsy films ever made, right? When the TV show
I saw it in my 20s, I did not understand it.
I like Last Year. Yes, it's loosely inspired from this, very loosely. But when the TV show Lost was hot, one member of the cast was reading this book. And when I saw that, I'm thinking, I think I know where Lost is going. This little book here was introduced by the English edition has an introduction by Borges. And it's about 100 pages. And basically the novella is about a castaway on this little island. He thinks he's alone. And then one day he hears music playing and he sees these nicely dressed people, beautifully dressed. And they seem to be going to a party. He thought he was alone. Apparently not. So he follows them and is just hiding. And then over a couple of days, he's spying on him and he comes upon a cliff. And he sees a striking woman. And she's having this argument with this man. And he just falls in love with her. And he wants to know who this woman is. Now that sets the story up. but I won't say anything more about it. But note, it was published in 1940. Films were relatively about 20 some years new, right? About 20 so years, film, cinema.
Right.
This has a lot to do with films.
Interesting.
And but it is also a love story as well, as to what we think of love, what it would be. But this little book I think has had a huge impact, not just on films but on writers, because I've seen it somehow referenced, or I see something, I see it there. So what this little tome has, I have a lot of Casares' books, but what I like about this one, it has the novella and a bunch of his other writings. But again, this is who's the publisher? Tusquets, again, another Spanish. Look at that, and beautiful anthology of writing, stunning cover. So anyway, yeah, I want to show those.
Okay, so we've got the history of the 10-inch single. Nothing so dramatic. DJ Tom Moulton wanted to press on an extended edit, and they ran out of 7-inchers. Turns out if you press a single at 12 inches, the sound comes out much better for club play.
Okay.
Because of that, Moulton took advantage of the 12-inch size to create bigger, extended versions to play at discotheques.
Like most things in life was a mistake, not a mistake, or an error, and things come out. That's pretty cool.
And someone thought that book sounded a bit like Gilligan's Island.
Maybe Gilligan was inspired by this. Again, this little book, I'm telling you.
And
but that little book was, but then to be fair, the little book took a page from The Island of Dr. Moreau and Stevenson's story, right? Of the Castaway. So Casares was really well versed in fiction and literature. And so this was some of his inspirations for him. And of course, cinema.
I'm a big convert to The Island of Moreau since David and I read it recently. But we're being accused of being the Three Stooges.
Hey, Larry, Curly, and Moe. Which one are we? Each.
Mo. I like Mo.
Okay, Gore's Mo.
On the 12-inch single, I do remember that in the 80s. I won Blue Monday. I think Blue Monday by New Order became one of the best-selling, I think, 12, if not the best-selling 12-inch single at one point. But I remember being at the club when I was younger. I used to go quite a bit. And I'm not exaggerating this. You'd be in the club, people would be dancing, but then you would hear the opening, not to Blue Monday, but to Bizarre Love Triangle, the 12-inch single to Bizarre Love Triangle by New Order. And you would hear what sounds like a screeching sound, like a crash of some kind. And then the dun, 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 would be the synthesizer or bass. I'm not joking. The club would erupt. The people would just go mad.
Like cockroaches all running.
It was, I mean, you would just hear people yelling. It was that song. I just remember that so clearly. And then there was one club I would go to that would incorporate electronic music with 70s music. And I remember one day it was New Order. That song came on. I almost went nuts. And then it was followed by Dancing Queen by ABBA. Almost a similar reaction. It was just it was wonderful. And this went on for a long time, for years on end. But anyway, begun the 12-inch single. It was just a wonderful thing, the music.
I can tell this is stirring up fond memories for you.
Gore the club are all hot and sweaty on the dance floor.
So many beautiful girls, stunning girls, stunning. Yeah.
I must have gone to the wrong discos.
I wasn't at that disco, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a few more comics from the package David gave me, so I'll hit those up. And we're in Gold Key territory still. Believe It or Not. Have you read any Believe It or Not yet, David? I haven't.
I have not.
Just read one. Do you remember? I went through it in that last.
Oh, right. That was a Believe It or Not you were reviewing.
So I actually read one. I enjoyed it a lot.
I need to try them.
They're
this
fun.
one has a really cool cover.
I love that pink cover. Yes, I love that. That is gorgeous.
It reminds me of like a movie poster from the 60s or something.
And I think a Dark Shadows has a similar cover to that too. But not that I gave you. Sorry.
And here's Dagar fighting a really weird looking monster.
Yeah, and you know what? I do not like those blue bands at the top. Those advertisement bands. I think they really destroy the
Extra
cover art.
16-page fun catalog.
I hate
Well,
that.
someone paid them to put that there. Probably.
I know it really does destroy the art.
Not as bad as those Marvel ones with the sweepstakes for bicycles.
Oh, those were horrible. Yeah, horrible.
Herm says that he doesn't believe that title. He's never seen it. Which title does he mean? Believe It or Not? I assume he's making a joke about Believe It or Not.
It took us a while to get it. You got it firstly. I was like, what is he talking about?
Tarzan back in the jungle with even more lions.
There's going to be 2 of those. Look.
It should be leopards or panthers or something.
No, do you see that in the corner? That's one of the first ones I got.
Collector's edition.
No, the top. You still haven't seen it. There was the other corner. There was a sticker on there with the person's address.
Oh, I can see where a sticker's been removed. Yeah.
No.
No.
It took me
like a subscription sticker.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're just missing it. It's the other corner. There's 4 corners. So go up to the top left corner.
Right here.
Yes.
There was a subscription address sticker there, I'm sure.
And it took me forever to get that much. And you can still see those 3 lines. Yeah. It was one of the first Dells that I got. And and there was a couple of them. And I was painstakingly trying to get those stickers off and hoping I could get it all the way off. I couldn't. That's as good as I could get it. But you're looking at like a lot of work to get that sticker off.
Okay. I will appreciate that every time I look at this comic. Ferocious beasts, bred and trained only for one purpose, the destruction of men. The Lions of Kathni. Adapted from Edgar Rice Burroughs' famous story, Tarzan and the City of Gold.
Oh, there you go.
This art is very strange looking. Oh, well. Okay, that is everything that you sent me.
Nice gift, David. Very nice.
Well, I was lamenting.
He's just throwing all the comics that he hates at me, right?
Yeah, I was lamenting because you went to the comic convention, and then the day you were coming back from the convention, like the day before, that box arrived, right? And I was thinking,
right,
oh, he's just seen all these amazing comics at the convention. He's not going to like my pitiful little box of comics.
Well, these are a breath of fresh air from all the variant covers and
it is what it
cover
is.
models and.
All right.
Sorry, you have more?
I just have comics and what do you call those, pulps? But I could just. You've seen some pulps. I don't know if you need to see anymore. So I have these comics to show. I'll do them really quickly. I got 2 old issues of Warlock, numbers 2 and 4. And remember, I'm getting these very cheap online.
Right, I got those are hard to get.
I got an old copy of.
Do you want to show the Warlocks again? Sorry, I forgot to make you big before.
Here you go.
What number is that? Number 6?
That one's number 4.
4.
And this is Make Way for the Demon Called Trax. And I love it because there's this like little boy here and he's threatening to kill him. And he's like, if that boy dies, so do you. It's awesome. The Demon Called Trax. This one is number 2. It's got a quite dramatic cover on it.
I love that. That's a classic.
Yeah, look at that.
Gil Kane look.
This is a 30-cent Daredevil with the owl just gigantic. That's a pretty good cover. Deadly. Sorry, my fingers are in the way. Deadly is the owl by night. Hi, Circumstances.
Hello, Circum.
Yes, Marcus. Very good to see you. He says he's going to make a killing gambling on UFC tonight. Marcus is a big gambler. Oh, Kirby Fantastic Four.
I'm slowly getting more and more old Fantastic.
The Mad Thinker.
And the Androids of Death. Look at that. That's great. Here's a couple of old Iron Mans. This one is number 53. Look at that. Fate is the Black Llama. I mean, how do you say that? Llama, because shouldn't it have 2 L's? The Black Llama. The black.
Wasn't there like a holy man that's a llama? Maybe that's spelled with one L.
Oh, the Dalai Lama? Yeah, I guess.
That kind of thing, yeah.
Here's another one. This is a 25-cent or 73. So jumping ahead 20 issues. And we've got the Crimson Dynamo, I guess, on the ground.
When I was a kid, I always thought Iron Man at that time was hilarious because his battery was always running low, and he was like crawling across the ground trying to find a plug to plug into.
Here's some more rats. Eric, we get them from looking down. There's two of them. And then Night of the Walking Bomb. Yeah, you keep covering up my art with those comments. You're doing it on purpose.
Well, John was saying he's very jealous of your beautiful books.
All right. This is my first issue of Jungle Action. They're quite expensive.
That is a nice one to have. Yeah, they're expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, and Death makes 3. Look at that. Cool. And 2 more. I got a 15-cent Thor. Look at that.
Ooh.
Day of the Demolisher. Like that guy's arms are gigantic. Look at him.
And his legs, his hands are gigantic.
Yeah, look at him.
Looks like Comics with Bueller's hands.
And I was so lucky. I got an old X-Men. These things are so hard to get.
Is that a Steranko cover?
I think. Yep, it says it right there. I think there's Steranko. So look at that.
It's kind of a weird look.
So you can see it's a little beat up. I don't care because I'm just trying to collect them.
And you got that for $1?
No, I probably paid 12.
Okay.
Something. Yeah, and these are not dollar comics. No.
Oh, they're from my comic shop, so they're probably the price that.
No. Some of these are no. Some of them are, and some of them are from Whatnot. Like I got these pretty cheap. I think I got them for like $2 to $4 each. Like that's ridiculously cheap.
That's very good.
Yeah, but on my what is it? My comic shop. They are. You're bidding against people, so if you got them, you're lucky.
Oh yeah, I just buy them from my comic shop. I don't do the bidding there.
Yeah.
So Paulo put it good. Llamas bless you for money, and llamas spit on you and chew cud.
That is okay.
How do you in Spanish? How do you pronounce llamas?
I didn't say llamas. I don't know how you say it in Spanish.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know if that double L had a different pronunciation.
Llama. Lorenzo loves.
That would be llamas, but
I love it too. The more you know. Okay, let's just keep staring at David.
I know. I'm like, take me off.
You want to go again, Gore?
Sure. And more of these books here. And probably a short story collection. If you come across it, I think I would recommend it. But first, the covers. This is, again, another Alfaguara. This is a reprint of Carlos Fuentes' first novel, La Región Más Transparente, which is about Mexico City. And as we know,
belly button?
Yeah, that's right. That's where life comes from, right? That's also been something very part in myth. And this is basically takes place in Mexico City. This is Carlos's, I think, second novel, but this is the one that put him on the map in the late 50s. A few years later, he would write The Death of Artemio Cruz, 1960, I believe, and then Aura. And those are the most famous books. Those are the ones that made him an international star. It's a stunning cover. And this is a collection of essays that Carlos did before he died. These
Larry,
are
we did it.
on film.
Sorry, Larry, we did it spontaneously. Sorry. Yeah. Carlos Fuentes, what is that one?
There's a collection of essays that he did on film. Pantallas de plata. Silver screen, I suppose. Pantallas is a screen.
And he's one of your favorite authors.
Yeah.
And you met Gore Vidal. Have you met?
Yeah, I met Carlos in 2001. He was one of them at the LBJ school. And he spoke there in Austin. The thing is about Carlos, his dad was a diplomat in the 1930s, and he was stationed in D.C. So Carlos went to school in D.C. And so his father knew Roosevelt, and also Roosevelt had good relations with Mexico. And when Orson Welles' film Citizen Kane came out, Carlos saw it as a kid. And that was one of the inspirations for The Death of Artemio Cruz. A stunning book, absolutely just stunning. But again, this is a collection of essays. Look at that beautiful cover there of film, and so we got that.
Are there a lot of the essays about film?
Yeah, all about the films that he liked, including Citizen Kane. Let's see.
Had
Have
I
you
known,
read? Sorry to interrupt again, but have you read Fuentes
hey, I
more in
want
Spanish or in English?
Both. I first read them the first one I read was Diana that I showed you that was in Spanish. Then I bought the English version. But I read them generally in English, but then unless some books have not been translated when they were coming out, I would just read them in Spanish, and then I would get the English edition.
Which is, at this point, which is easier for you to read, or are they?
English, absolutely.
English?
Because once Spanish was my first language, but then English dominated everything. And I like the language, obviously, and I'm comfortable with it. And but yes, I do try to go back and read the books in the original when I can.
Yeah.
This book here, look at this cover here.
Interesting. That's a radical choice to go that close up.
Yeah, this book this came out in 2001, and I didn't know anything about Mendoza, but I saw that it's called Satanás, Satan, right? And this is Mendoza here. He's a Colombian writer. And this novel basically took a page, I guess, from Amores Perros and Pulp Fiction, is that in the sense that you have these interrelated stories that all culminate at the end. All the characters.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So at first it seems like a bunch of disparate stories,
right?
But then they all come together.
And one of them is a Vietnam veteran who's living in Colombia, who's a painter, but he's got dark memories of the past, of the war. You have another woman who is brutally raped by a boyfriend. You have all these different characters, and I remember when I read this, I was reading it at the same time as Blood Meridian, and those of you familiar with that book's an intense book. So I saw that, I read that book, I was reading this book, and I saw the film Irreversible for the first time by Monica Bellucci. And now generally I do like dramas and tragedy. Those are the genres that I like. But even then, that was pretty intense because the way this ends, it's pretty disturbing. You've seen the film Irreversible with Monica Bellucci by Gaspar Noé, very disturbing film. And there is not a page in the 300 plus pages of Blood Meridian that is settling. Everything is unsettling, that beautiful.
I'm afraid to read it.
It's a beautifully executed nightmare in print, just like the film Irreversible is. It's a beautiful nightmare, to see, but it's an experience. And so, but look at that. It's stinging. This has been translated into English, is my understanding, by Mendoza. I do recommend the book. And
would it just be called Satan in English?
I think so. I think that's what it's translated as. I think so. And if you come across anything edited by this man here, Alberto Manguel, and I think he's from Buenos Aires. He was when he was a young man, he met Borges and they became good friends. But Manguel has become a first-rate editor of books and also an essayist. And this is a collection of revenge stories that from various writers, from William Faulkner to William Trevor. It's a variety of writers, right? But the revenge stories are just incredible in this thing. I'll just highlight two of them. One of them, I forget who the writer was, a French writer from the 19th century, is you have a woman who's dating this nobleman, really respected man in Paris. But he takes advantage of her and jilts her. And she wants to get revenge. So what does she do? She is herself of upper class. But she goes into the netherworld of Paris and basically sells herself to every man she can see. She becomes a prostitute. But that's not where it ends. She has a certain purpose why she's doing that. And this is what makes the ending to this so shocking. The other one is by a wonderful Irish writer, first-rate writer named William Trevor. I first discovered him in the New Yorker in the 90s. And he's been with me ever since. he has a revenge story in here, which I have in his collected stories, is about prep school kids in England. Well, not prep school, but I guess public school in England. And the boys, there's the upperclassmen and the lowerclassmen, right? But the thing is, though, when the lowerclassmen come into the school, they basically become the sex toys of the upperclassmen. And then when they become upperclassmen, when the new boys come in, they partner up with each one of them. Just the way it works. And so we get this storyline, and now we go 20, 30 years later. There's a reunion taking place. Now, there was one kid all these boys picked on in particular, they made fun of. And now all these men are successful men. One works for a major oil company. One's a big, I don't know, it's a hedge fund manager. But they all have families. And they're there at this wonderful hotel. They're all like in their late 40s, early 50s. They're there with their kids. And the one guy they make fun of shows up. Now, all these men, you know, some of them are a little bit overweight. They're balding. Some of them have been having affairs with each other's wives. And they're thinking about this one guy they always used to make fun of. Whatever happened to him? And one guy goes, you know, I ran into him. I invited him to come over. And here he comes. Now, he looks great. And the women, because they've all heard stories about this man. He's been an object of ridicule among all of them. But when they see him, he's not the way their husbands described him. And he sits down there, and all their teenage children are there, and they're all looking at him. And he begins to say, oh, you guys, you remember how it used to be back when we were in school? The women don't know this. And he begins to tell them. Wonderful story. First read by William Trevor.
Sounds very uncomfortable.
It's great stuff. Anyway, these are some of the great stories here. Just get this collection. You probably find it on eBay really cheap. Wonderful revenge stories. All in the tradition of the Count of Monte Cristo. Or I guess of Hamlet, right? Those are the early great revenge stories. Hamlet and the Count of Monte Cristo. But some of these take much darker turn in those books. Anyway, good stuff.
Hello, Zen. So people are saying that you are raising their IQ. So I need to bring it back down. So I picked up some of the early Zippy comics.
I never see those ever.
And they weren't very expensive. I haven't opened this up yet. I remember reading this at some point when I was in college.
Griffin, right? It's a Griffin.
Griffin, yeah, Bill Griffin, and he's recently written a book about the creator of Little Lulu, and there he stuck her in there. So he's always been obsessed with her. But in the back here, well, I guess it would be too hard to read this comic on the back, but it's hilarious where he's in a freak show. I don't know if you can see what's going on in these pictures.
You're banned.
Oh, I do see that.
That's nice.
It is very nice. Where is that book?
It says that's nice. He's got his head stuck up her ass or in her tits.
In her tits, and then in her butt.
Yeah.
And she's just like, really, Zippy, you're impossible. And he says, now I'm concentrating on a specific tank battle towards the end of World War II.
It's Eros. It's all Eros.
Number 1 and number 2.
Wow.
And these may be reprinting stuff that he did in underground newspapers and such. Zippy was really great at this point, and it really lost something when it went to the national syndication, I think. But I loved Zippy back then, so I'm real excited to get back to this.
What newspapers was it? I mean, I can't imagine on the Washington Post or the Philadelphia Inquirer. Where was it?
It was in regular newspapers in the 90s. I don't know what people made of it, but I mean, it didn't have the naughty bits that we just saw there. It just had Zippy wandering around saying bizarre, random things.
Wow.
And I think it incorporated a character that looked like Bill Griffith, who would be Zippy's sidekick in it. it never made, when I started reading that, I started thinking, was Zippy really ever that good? But picking these up and just reading the comics on the back covers makes me think Zippy was that good originally. And I'm started trying to collect, when I can find them not too expensively, which is hard, these Skywald horror magazines that were kind of a ripoff of Creepy and Eerie. This one's called Nightmare. And then, of course, Marvel was trying to rip off Creepy and Eerie too, Haunt of Horror. But what Marvel did is they created continuing characters. So this one has a exorcist named Gabriel, who's in every issue, I think.
That cover's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is the kind of disco I used to go to, I think. But
we did have goth discos as well. That was a whole different environment.
Look at that.
This is a really nice Hulk cover.
Yeah, you were showing some of those Herb Trimp books you were getting, Damien.
Right. So this is another one. This is not from Florida, but so I went to on Thursday. I went to this comic book store. I actually meant to pick up new comics, but they didn't have any. So I started looking through their back issues, and I got these.
Beautiful.
Were they pretty cheap? Expensive? How much were those?
Medium.
Oh, okay.
I kind of feel sorry for this comic book store. Something's gone wrong there, and I was trying to give them business. So I grabbed this issue of Detective.
It's got the checkerboard at the top.
This was about $12, if you're wondering the prices.
Look at that. That's cool.
But so this is before Batman became dark again. This is when Carmine Infantino was drawing Batman. I think when they were trying to be like the TV show. And I'm not sure what this early Secret Six was, but I thought this cover was really cool. So
I think it was 6 issues or so. I've seen it at my shop.
This is number 2.
Looks pretty good. It only
but I don't think it's like super villains and they were being forced. It's some different concept of Secret Six.
Wonder the Pentagon. It looks like spies.
Look at the Mod Squad in a way, I think.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Never forget, I control your lives, your very existence. When Mockingbird commands, you obey. Oh, and there's a shadow of a bird there.
Dun, dun.
And then I wanted to show, I've showed it on Instagram. If you guys remember a few months ago when there was all the auctions for Comics Against Cancer, one of the things up was a sketch cover by Nauman, the comic book worm, who's probably not here anymore.
Whoa.
So Nauman drew this.
Wow,
He drew that?
So it's Creepshow, which has this, has their sort of host. Nice. So Nauman drew the host with scissors, and there's an evil Kool-Aid Man, which is Kool-Aid Man is kind of the symbol of what's his name? Comic Journey, CJ, who does the late night shows. And then there's this is Nauman's comic book worm there. Anyway, this is really cool.
That's impressive. I didn't know he drew him. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, Nauman is a very good artist, and I think he's sort of gotten more serious about drawing again since he started YouTube. So I feel like we've been able to watch him get better and better. Nice. It says unfit state postal server, prerogative mail.
Newman.
So anyway, that was really cool. So I don't know if either of you have more or if we're done. Or did you have one more set of things?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, we're at 2 hours. I think.
If you want to go one more time, I'm up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel the need to leave?
No, I'm just like, let me see.
You had some pulps. You still had some pulps.
Yeah, and I wish I knew we were gonna bring literature. I would have brought some. And my husband has a bunch of those books, like
John.
Yeah, in Spanish, that from that same company. So I could have brought those and shown them to go along with yours. Anyways, I'll just show them real fast. So some more pulps. The cover art is just weird, or like this one. Like, look at this one. It's weird.
These are 70s, I'm assuming.
This one October 74. Yeah, this one is from 74. So they're probably all around the early. Yeah, this is 74. Like, look at that one.
I like that one.
That's cool. Who are the writers on that one, David?
Frederick Pohl, Jack Williamson, Jerry Purnell. John Brunner, Theodore Sturgeon, Robert Wells, Sidney Van, I don't know how to say that, and Lou Fisher. Sidney Van, S-C-Y, Syok.
The first three are superstars, and the last three I never heard of.
Yeah.
Oh, Theodore Sturgeon, though. That's hot stuff.
John Brunner, I read one of his books recently, and I reviewed it. So I'm kind of into him. He did that one where it showed that British guy falling in space. Do you remember that?
Right. He did a lot of books, but he became really famous with something called Stand on Zanzibar.
Yeah, Stand
on
on
yeah.
Right.
Like look at that one. Wait, I can't get the glare. I don't know.
I've never heard of John Boyd.
Mm-mm.
That kind of looks like the $6 Million Man or something.
Yeah, like
Steve Austin.
So yeah, here's two more. I like this one.
Wow,
that is cool. Yeah, Jack Williamson.
These ones have frames around them, which is
the fascinating thing about Jack Williamson is he traveled with his family in the early 20th century, like 1910s, to Texas in a covered wagon.
Whoa!
And by the late 1920s, he was writing for pulp science fiction.
Didn't know that.
And he was still writing science fiction in the late 80s, early 90s, I think. Can't remember when he passed away.
Oh, look,
but he had the longest career of any science fiction writer, and his life began before automobiles.
There you go. I'm almost done. There you go.
No rush.
Just some kind of last three science fiction. Look at that one.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Can't believe you got
a piece.
I can't believe it.
I've got so many of these now. I
Runner's
love
Web
them.
of everywhere.
Look at how awful this one is. Who would want to read that story?
You could read a story from that every night out loud to Frank before bedtime.
That'll put him to sleep.
There
he is again. Sidney J. Van Skyok.
He must have been popular at the time, but his name did not last.
Sturgeon Priest Tate.
Phil Higgins, never heard of him either.
Rivers of Damascus. I also wanted to say John Trevor, I believe he won the Pulitzer Prize. I read, I think, at least two of his books, and one of them, it was astounding. It was such a good book.
The author of that story Gore was telling us about?
Yep.
Is it John Trevor or is it?
William Trevor.
William Trevor.
Right. Oh, yeah, William Trevor.
William Trevor from Ireland.
Herm is admiring your background.
Thank you.
Do you want to do a last round, Gore?
Sure.
Okay.
In the final covers of books, this writer from Valencia, El Desorden de tu Nombre. I like this. It's the disorder of your name.
Let's see.
Wow.
That's kind of sexual.
Of course.
It's interesting the bits that they show.
What kind of books are you reading? No,
this is basically general fiction. It's literary fiction by some writers. These are
but they all have women on them.
They do.
Are you starting to suspect that Gore has an interest in?
I'm seeing a trend here.
That here.
Oh, that one's nice.
This is by Jorge Franco. He's from Colombia.
I like
a novel that he did. Look at that beautiful thing. Beautiful cover. And this is him here. Beautiful cover. This is Carmen Riera. She's from Spain. This came out in early 2000s. And this has to do with the aftermath of the Spanish Civil War and people coming back, not people coming back, but takes place like decades afterwards, and the ramifications of that. Look at this; it's beautiful.
Yeah.
A
lot of these have an interesting way they've kind of cropped the pictures or something so that you get.
You're right. That is
cool
about that. Like this one, I think, is a photograph. I think, or painting. I can't tell. Now, this guy here, Martinez, he is from Argentina. No, he's from Chile. And this book here is about a woman who's living in New Jersey, and she gets a phone call from her husband. But her husband was arrested in 1976, and when he was arrested by the military. And the writer's from Chile. This takes place in, I think it's from Chile. Well, either way, the story takes place in the present, but you go back to the past when the military dictatorship in Argentina took over and they arrested a ton of people. Her husband was one of them. But now, decades later, she gets a phone call and her husband is alive. This is, again, Tomás Eloy Martinez, Purgatory. I guess, like, you're in limbo in between the Inferno and Paradise, an allusion to Paradise. I mean, to Divine Comedy.
Dante, yeah.
Yeah, to Dante. And so a Martinez book. And I think that's about it of the books that I have here. Well, I guess finally this one here. It is the first book by Garcia Marquez that I ever read. The General in His Labyrinth. This is the copy here.
Is that the one where it's all one long sentence?
No, that's the Patriarch, which is about a dictator. It's all one long sentence. It's about a patriarch.
That's
I think it's Autumn of the Patriarch.
Autumn of the Patriarch, right?
Yeah. This one is a historical novel of Simón Bolívar, the great liberator. Okay. And this is, again, the first one that I read by him in the 90s. And this is, I prefer this to 100 Years and Love in the Time of Cholera. Not that it's better than him, but I like this book a lot. Maybe
because I haven't read that one.
Yeah, it's told when he's dying in the last few months of his life, and it's just remembering his entire life. It's a beautiful book, and there's a writer. Eventually, I'm gonna have to do a video about him, an American writer named Frederick Prokosch. No one knows who Prokosch is.
I don't.
But in the late 30s and 40s, Prokosch wrote a series of novels called, like, The Asiatics, The Seven Who Fled. In the 1960s, he did a book about Lord Byron. Same premise as here. Byron is dying in Greece, because I think when Byron, after his friend Shelley died, and he became himself, I guess, a soldier, not say a soldier of fortune, but Byron, when Turkey had invaded Greece, he wanted to liberate it, and so he went there, but he died of illness when he was there. And so what Prokosch did, he wrote basically a memoir, a fictional memoir, which is what this is here, that he had written, remembering his life. But the writing of Prokosch, if you were to read it in English, I mean, read any of his novels, you would think he's a Latin American writer. The images, the use of his words, the sensuality in the writing, the elements of time going back and forth, everything these guys are known for. An American writer did it phenomenally well, and no one knows who he is. When Prokosch wrote his books, Yeats admired him, Thomas Mann admired him, Albert Camus admired him. Heavyweights.
So he was a while back.
Frederick Prokosch.
Okay.
And I don't think his books were ever bestsellers.
So he was probably published in the U.S. before the U.S. readers knew about the Latin American writers.
Yes, this would have been, because Borges and Cortázar and Cáceres, I'm not sure when they were translated into English, late 50s, early 60s. The big Latin American boom, as it's called, didn't come in
70s, I think.
Late 60s and the 70s. That's when Cortázar, Borges, Fuentes, Llosa, Marquez, these are the ones that, Chekhov, right, were being published in the U.S. and in Europe, at least in English. And so that was called a big boom in the market. But Prokosch, the American writer, was doing these type of stories. The Seven Who Fled, about 7 people, different nationalities. They're stuck in somewhere in Asia and they're trying to survive. But again, his writing is so evocative. So when I remember, I had read Prokosch before I read this, his book on Byron. So when I read this, I'm thinking, hey, Prokosch did this beforehand. But I've never heard him referenced by Latin American writers or anybody else, really. The only people who really championed him was, Gore Vidal, and who knew him.
Is that how you found out about him?
That's how I found out about him. And at one point, my understanding, he lived in Austin before I was there. And so a lot of his books, I found them in Austin at the used bookstores, and so they were everywhere. And so again, a remarkable writer. But yeah, this is a wonderful, the hammock and his boots of Simon Bolivar, and basically it's a meditation on life and on death, which is a very common theme in Latin American fiction. Death is prominent through a lot of fiction, and but then that's part of the culture, the way they see death and such. But just wonderful stuff.
Cool. Well, I appreciate that the audience was able to hang in with us for such an eclectic. This was even more like Garage Geek than Garage Geek.
Yeah, Garage Geek is wonderfully eclectic. That is
right.
I wish I would have known. I would have brought some books.
No, but you provided a lot of eclecticism yourself. And so Zen is appreciating this stuff, and John is, I think, a little surprised by all that we've covered. And no, thank you, Herm. And Spanish literature, I think that's a deep dive with all the different Spanish-speaking countries you've got there. Have you gone to Spain, Gore?
No, I've not.
And so are you buying all these Spanish books in local bookstores, or are you having to hunt them?
No, I can't find them anymore. The local bookstores they're just terrible here now. And but they just really are where I live. It's pretty sad. And I live like a few hours from the Mexican border, and yet we have the vacuum. So no, many times I have to order them now.
And they go out of print fast. And the prices shoot way up, some of them.
Maybe. Let me see. And so I just have to see. Hold on, you guys. I have to get off here for a moment.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Well, we're about to close out, but you can come back for a minute, say goodbye. But
how do I log? How do I have someone at my door knocking?
Oh, here, I'll kick you off.
If you don't
get out.
Fine.
Wait, how do I do? Wait, remove. There we
We're
go.
shutting up anyway.
Yeah, Jared's been busy, inspired, inventing the 13-inch. Next time we need more books about llamas and other sort of mammals.
I want to see that 13-inch. Let's find out, invent more of that. What's that, Mary?
I'm not sure. Oh, Mary M showed up. Hi, Mary.
Oh, hi, Mary.
Is that someone?
Mary. Don't call me
and
Mary.
I do want to fulfill Jackson's desire. Here we go. Got to end with something classy.
And his head is pointed. So.
And what is he saying there? He's saying, "I'm in a nuclear submarine under the polar ice cap, and I need Kleenex." There's just something about Zippy's randomness that, at least in these early books, it really works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So next time, more llamas, doggies. My cat finally stopped trying to get in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a delight to have both Gore and David on, and it was a delight to have this audience who was willing to go with us in all these strange places. Strange for a comic book channel.
Thank you to you, because this morning I text you. I'm like, "Hey, let's do a show," and then you're like, "Okay," and it morphed into something very strange indeed. But
thank you to you for my third box of comics from you.
Mm.
I'm very enriched. So you know what? Now Gore is completely gone from our backstage. So I'll just say goodbye to everybody, and we'll do some other weird, wacky videos, live videos, with perhaps some of you joining us next time.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Okay, there's the end stream button. I couldn't remember where it was. We're still